worry
No,
about it.
I have every confidence that you're going to be fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
I will intro today on hygiene elevated conversations and innovations. We have the privilege of interviewing Guru Nanda. And we have the owner of the company today. So we are very excited to hear about your company, hear about oil pulling, and kind of this growing trend, very positive growing trend of holistic homeopathic care that we as providers can care for our patients, but also products that are far less toxic for our patients to be using. So, to begin with, Dr. Fresh, can you provide our listeners with an introduction to your company, Guru Nanda, and your mission and values when it comes to oral care?
So thank you for providing me this platform, first of all, Amanda. I'm extremely grateful. Secondly, I would like to start that all my life I've just dedicatedly done oral care. I've kind of grown up in a family which manufactured toothbrushes and toothpaste for a living. I went to medical schools in Russia and India, and then, but I decided to be an entrepreneur when I came to America. I did not go to through the U.S. School of Studies, and I started a company and ended up actually becoming a. Initially, I started up a company called Dr. Fresh, which ended up becoming one of the pioneers in inventing kids' toothbrush. I invented Firefly toothbrush, which was a light up toothbrush that
Okay.
lit up and taught how long to brush. That became a viral trend amongst dentists back in year 2000.
Okay.
And then since then, there was no looking back. I actually ended up buying Reach toothbrush from Johnson and Johnson
Okay.
and Banaka from Playtex and a few other brands and companies around the world with the cash flow that I was able to produce with. And ultimately, it kind of was affecting my own health, where I was not taking care of my own health. And to the point where a big siren alarm at one point instigated me to drop everything, sell the company, and look for my roots and fix myself. So I went back to India. I sold that company, Dr. Fresh, which was a pretty large company at that time, over 150 employees, and successfully sold it. And it's not like I kind of ran away from it. But I decided to learn Ayurveda, which is the Indian science of uh, Indian kind of science of healing. And then, apart from Ayurveda, I also learned yoga. I became a yoga teacher myself. I did two yoga trainings, one in India, one in United States. I also started to live a holistic life. I lost 40 plus pounds.
Wow.
So I have before and after pictures that are pretty incredible. And with that, I also lost 14 pills a day that I had been taking. And that kind of the entire. I also wrote a book called Wall Street Yoga. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to read it. It's freely downloadable on our website. But what really instigated me to come into the holistic practice of uh, this whole concept of bringing holistic Ayurvedic practices of ancient India that had been in place for thousands of years, tried but not really in major practice in the United States,
Mhm.
was the reason that they instigated me was because I myself had, even though being in a toothpaste industry, was started to realize that one of my tooth was I was referred to go get a root canal done, and I started oil pulling religiously. And I told my specialist, I said, "Can I take a few weeks and try this out?" And he says, "Don't call me at a weekend." I said, "Okay, well hopefully not." Means And he was a friend because I knew I had 18,000 dentists on my Rolodex by that time.
Yeah.
So, and to my amazement, it's been years and I've been fine. And that single incidence uh, told me there was a power in Ayurveda that I need to bring to the world. And then another incidence was when I had a lot of allergies. I was sneezing every morning,
Mhm.
like 50, 70, 100 times a day. And one of my friend's daughter, she's the HOD, head of department in one of the top universities, and nobody could cure it. And I was like in literally tears every morning for 2 hours, and or on medications that made me sleepy. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, a visit to Greece fixed me with some essential oil that I took. It was a mixture of oregano and a couple of other oils. So that told me that there is something, and I didn't have to ever take it again. It was unbelievable. It was like, what happened? Is it like some voodoo, some magic? What happened? So why is it not popular? So that instigated me to kind of do more research and really got me interested back into this whole concept of holistic medicine.
Oh my gosh, that is such a fantastic there's so much to unpack just in what you just shared there. Thank you for giving your account, and it sounds like oral care is in your genes and it's extending to your entire family. Um, I would agree. I feel like I'm at that place personally. I'm on a health journey and I'm seeking to eliminate toxins, and I'm actually going through a program right now where I'm like day 41 of a elimination diet and doing a detox. Um, I wasn't on any medications yet. I don't want to be on medications. So I'm trying to be on the preventative side of that. And as a healthcare provider, that's where, in the oral industry, I want to be able to identify those red flags for patients of things that I see that, hey, this could be leading to more issues than just bleeding gums. But I digress on that. I want to dig more into the science of oil pulling because in the dental industry, it can be a little bit of a hot button topic for some people. They look and say, okay, yeah, sure, oil pulling, it's a joke, it's a hoax, it's something that is completely ineffective. But here, use this mouthwash instead that kills all the good stuff. So I want to hear a little bit more about the science behind oil pulling and the Ayurvedic methods that you learned. I want to know everything.
So, first of all, I have manufactured mouthwash of all kinds forever. So, I know what we put inside a mouthwash.
Hmm.
Okay. And secondly, I have been behind major store brands. Like, let's say you go to a big retail chain, you see their names on the practically I've manufactured for everybody in America.
Hmm.
So, and several brands as well. So I understand how to make mouthwash really, really well, more than probably 99.999% people in the world. And let's start one by one. Coming
Okay.
about science of oil pulling. So in your mouth, whenever you're using a mouthwash is water, is the main component is water. The number two component is some kind of a mint. Could be some kind of a menthol or a flavor that is supplied by one of these big flavor companies. So synthetic flavors, menthol, alongside we add some kind of synthetic sweetener that is not a sugar. So
Hmm.
it could be sodium saccharin or it could be aspartame or something like that. And the third thing is adding some kind of a preservative system. And the fourth thing is which is the most important thing, is active, some kind of active like cetylpyridinium chloride, uh, which would go and kill all the bad bacteria.
Mhm.
Or you could instead add alcohol at a very high percentage, which could kill all the bad bacteria. The third option is you could add, then there's another company that started adding fluoride. And then there was a fourth company that started adding hydrogen peroxide. So these are the major three or four actives that are already there, that have been agreed upon by FDA, and they kind of form the drug monogram. So you can get a drug panel and you can make the claims.
Mhm.
So that's how the mouthwash is made. Oil pulling is totally a different concept. It is oil. There is zero water. There is no water in there. So whenever in your mouth, the bacteria has a membrane that is basically fat. Basically, it's a lipid soluble product.
Mhm.
So whenever you are actually, so how you kill bacteria through mouthwashes, you add active like alcohol that would dry out the cell membrane, or, and similar kind of adjectives so that you kill the cell membrane of the bacteria. So the
Mhm.
bacteria ultimately ends up dying. Versus in oil pulling format, the format is lipid, and then you have saliva in your mouth. So when you are actually uh, swishing for extended period of time, you are doing something called saponification. So there is an emulsifying effect between the oil and the saliva, and that saponification effect is the one that does two different things. Saponification is how soap is made, for example.
Mhm.
You need oil to make soap, and you need soap to scrape off the oil. That's
Mhm.
the cycle of life here. So that saponification effect clears up all the food debris, all the bad stuff in your mouth. Secondly, in your mouth at any given time, there is a lot of biofilms that are continuously getting formed from the dead bacteria, from the food debris, from all sorts of, that's their mechanism of the bacteria to form a home around themselves. The idea is once they have the home over, like a roof over their top, they can stay safe behind them.
Mhm.
And that bacteria could be Streptococcus mutans, which is the one that causes cavities, or it could be P. gingivitis, means that could cause gingivitis, or it could be any other sorts of bacteria that is harmful for you. So when you're oil pulling, you are doing two things. Number one, the reason the oil pulling word was kind of coined was because like there's a cell membrane that is lipid soluble, and then there
Mhm.
you have oil in your mouth. So basically it pulls all those toxic um, stuff out of your mouth that is oil soluble, which would not majorly get affected when you're using a water based mouthwash. number two Number two is uh, the 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 biofilm. Oil has a property of kind of loosening up everything. If you put oil on paper, let's say, the paper becomes very liffy. Everything that oil can seep in everywhere. That is the property of oil. And you put a bottle of oil in your, let's say, a bag, and it could be that your shirt is all messed up by the time you
Yes.
reach your destination. So oil seeps in everywhere, and basically oil loosens up the biofilm. So when you actually use a toothbrush that we provide with the oil pulling product, we provide a very specific ultra soft toothbrush. We call it butter on gums. You actually use circular motions and right around your gum line. When you use the toothbrush, you actually are scraping off all the biofilms mechanically. So once the biofilms are less in or taken off from your mouth, there
Mhm.
is no, you've literally broken up the homes of those bad bacteria. So that, of course, they'll start making it again, but at least it's almost like a cleaning effort that you've done in your house. You had all the dirt in your house and now you've vacuumed it all. And now dirt won't stop, but at least you're living in clean for today. So it's an everyday practice that needs to be done. And I am number one, and the way we have made our oil pulling is very scientific, extremely scientific. And we have bridged the gap between the East and the West. So the way oil pulling was used in India was a little different. It was uh, sesame oil, the main base, and then it was coined on doshas. Doshas are like humors of your body. Like you could be air, water, earth, fire, or space. Like how your entire body is, how they made the oil pulling. It's a little bit more discussion that I can get into later. So but what I did was I married the benefits that I saw in aromatherapy after learning so much about aromatherapy and going farm to farm and creating this farm to bottle essential oils. And I told you about how oregano helped me and certain other essential
Mm-hmm.
oils helped me. So I created this format where I took the best of the best essential oils that actually I could testify using it on myself and all the people that I have actually distributed the product to or used them as guinea pigs. So I put all that together and I created this product that actually works. Number two, I added vitamins that are also lipid soluble,
Mm-hmm.
like for example, vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is great for bones. Now, people may say, oh, you need to take it in. How is it good in your mouth and when you're swishing? Because anytime you're putting anything in the mouth, especially first thing in the morning, your body is hungry. Your mouth is vascular.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, anything you take in your mouth and when you're swishing for extended period of time, you are taking a part of it in your body, in your system. And K2 is another vitamin that we have. K2 is a vitamin that ensures that the calcium that is in your body is not getting deposited in the wrong parts of the body, like the arteries, that it's going to the right areas, which is the bones and the teeth. So basically, we added a dosage of K2 and then we added vitamin E, which is amazing for your mucosa health,
Mm-hmm.
so that your mouth can stay in great shape. So we created a formulation that is perfected, and we started doing some work around it, and we got thunderous opinions. Now we have two clinical studies that have already been published. One is for bed breath. So basically, using our product, you can keep bad breath away for 12 hours. And secondly, and this is a clinical study that was done with live subjects, and it is a study that was performed by Top Guns in Los Angeles. So it is a US study. It's not like we did it overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, and the subjects were all US people, Americans. So it's not like we've outsourced it like to Africa or India or third world countries. And secondly, we've also done a study on teeth whitening, natural teeth whitening, which basically is again done here locally. Now, we have two other studies which are a little bit more complicated. One of them we are doing it overseas, where you require a lot more stringent. Number one, it would have costed me millions of dollars if I would have done it in the US. So I outsourced it through a company that works for companies like the big multinational drug companies. And this is a study that is being conducted on oil pulling's effect on gingivitis. And then we also have another study that is underway where we are proving that if you use against a mouthwash that has either CPC or alcohol as a kill agent versus this product, that the microbiome in your mouth, once you used oil pulling, is very different from the microbiome in your mouth
Mm-hmm.
once you're actually not using, when you're using a regular mouthwash. So these are the two studies that are underway that I think would be revolutionary. And so I think we're on the tip of the iceberg. And this product has been, this oil pulling technique has been used for documented over thousands of years, documented. And there has been there have been historians that have written that some of the kings back in 15th century, the predecessors of the guy who built Taj Mahal, he himself was being cared by some of the very learned healthcare people. They were called Vedyas, and these Vedyas made the king's kids start oil pulling at a very young age. So the king, one of the kings, lived up to age 96, and he had almost no cavities, even at 96 years of age, and he
Wow.
had his original teeth. So these are the things that you can kind of put two and two together and see that there is some historical facts behind it. So, although there might be other things that he was doing, maybe something right to live up to 96 and live a healthy life means I'm sure he had every access in the world with, you know,
Being a
uh,
king, you would
being a
have some
king.
advantages to
Right.
a healthier lifestyle.
Correct. 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 So I'm just more worried about the subject, which is oil pulling and dental health, which is where my world revolves. So, so that
I
is where.
I love your explanations for everything. I think here in the West, so I've been a dental hygienist for 15 years. And I remember learning in school some very basic things that, my great grandparents used for oral health, baking soda and hydrogen peroxide. We were taught, oh no, that is so harsh on your body. It's so harsh on your gums. You do not ever recommend those things. And now we're kind of seeing full circle, hey, maybe those weren't nearly as bad as we were being taught. So I think there is definitely something to that ancient wisdom that maybe some pharmaceutical companies don't exactly have as much um, knowledge for such a long
or
period of time.
or no, no, apart from knowledge, there's also a hidden agenda. These are public companies that have to show quarter on quarter results, and I don't blame them. Their people get
Right.
paid for to do that. But the thing is, a lot of times your interest is not in their heart, and that is the origination of Guru Nanda. Because I want, what is Guru Nanda? Guru means teacher, and Nanda is my last name.
Mm,
And the reason I named it Guru Nanda was because I want to empower you to be the guru of your own wellness. I'm
I
not a
love
guru.
that.
I'm not a guru. People start calling me guru. I'm not a guru. I'm Puneet Nanda. I named my TikTok page as I am Puneet Nanda. I'm not a guru. I want you to be the guru of your own wellness, because whenever things go wrong, you don't realize. Whenever things go wrong, you are actually, there's a saying, you either hunt or you be hunted. So
Mm,
if you're not smart enough to know what is right and what is wrong, somebody's bad decision could change your life,
that's very true.
right?
That's very
So
true.
let's say you went with all your trust to a dentist or a doctor, and he said you need this and this done. And I was just watching a Netflix documentary right now, and there was this doctor who was putting track airway thing in your neck. It's the number one thing on Netflix today. So so you can actually go and check it out. And
Okay.
the guy, the people who are at a almost at a death stage, they think it's God, and they'll do anything. But if you are not being the guru of your own wellness, in the sense, if you're not putting your own brain in, you're not really doing your own research, you could
Yes.
get you could get hunted, if you understand what I'm saying.
I follow that completely. And I think you could almost say hunters are marketing experts.
Possible.
Yes.
And And I did a video that went viral on TikTok. It's got 28 million views. It's about hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. It's funny that you say about hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. I said, if used in dilution, proper
Hmm.
dilution, they are not bad products. They, but every dentist would go and talk bad about them because, of course, if you use any dilution over 1 to 2% of hydrogen peroxide, it's going to hurt you. But if you use anything in moderation, even if you drink a lot of water, it's going to hurt you. Forget other things.
True.
If you take a lot more oxygen than needed, it's going to hurt you. So it's basically everything in moderation, including moderation. So that's what I would
I
say.
agree. I have some questions. So again, kind of going back to just doing continuing education courses over the past 15 years, I think I've only heard of one class, one course being taught on oil pulling. And I was, this is probably 10 years ago, just kind of rolling my eyes, with what knowledge I had of, well, nothing takes the place of brushing and flossing. And I would still say we need that mechanical disruption. I think we agree on that. But I think there's a lot of confusion on oil pulling here in the West. We think coconut oil pulling, and I think everybody pictures the clumpy white coconut oil, you get from Costco in the big, like 5 pound tub, and you swish that. And I've seen a few reels going around on social media saying, don't ever do that. That's going to clog your drains. It's not going to do anything for you, and not knowing the type of product that you have, fractionated versus unfractionated coconut oil, with all of these other properties to it, with the other essential oils and the vitamins, it's a completely different thing from what we picture as coconut oil pulling versus the type of product that you have on the market. It is completely different. So how would um I guess how would you kind of have described how it's different,
So
but
let me explain you
yeah, go
very
for it.
in easy form.
We love easy.
So coconut oil, the clumpy one that you're talking about, it
Mhm,
has lauric acid in it. So coconut oil has different chains of carbon like C8, C10, C12, C14. Anything over C10 becomes so for example, C12 is the lauric acid content, which so anything over C10 starts to become solidify very quickly
mhm,
when it is under 76 degree Fahrenheit. So the number one problem, the two problems when I looked at the coconut oil that came to my mind were number one, it clumps and clogs the drains.
mhm,
Number one. Number two, the biggest other problem was it was causing a lot of people TMJ when I first initially started looking into it because people would get tired.
yeah,
Even if you eat a lot of salad, you start to get a pain in your jaw. So forget that amount of thick coconut oil, and these are C14, C16, C18 are very thick materials. So what I did was, but I knew the benefits of lauric acid, so I took parts of lauric acid, parts of C8, C10, and parts of C6, and made a formulation that would work perfectly. And then to counter the benefits of C12 in excess and C14 in excess and C18 in excess, I took different other products. Like, for example, I took oregano oil and I looked at the carvacrol structure in oregano oil. That is the that is a lot more antimicrobial, a lot more antifungal, a lot more. It is almost like a natural antibiotic.
mhm,
So I took that carvacrol component of the high carvacrol component into consideration, and I added that. Then I added clove, which has eugenol in it. Eugenol is an unbelievable anesthetic, natural anesthetic. Then I took peppermint, which has menthol in it, which is basically not only a um, it's almost used in every Tiger Balm and every other
Hmm.
major mouthwash. It's cooling, it's refreshing, it's pain. It takes away the pain, it freshens the mouth, it gives you energy, it kind of uplifts you. You know, that component in peppermint oil is amazing.
Hmm.
Similarly, other oils like tea tree has it's a natural antiseptic. And similarly, I looked at vitamin D3 and K2, I told you, and we created this unbelievable combination. Plus, I used fennel oil in it for a reason. Fennel is for, it actually stimulates the salivary glands. So you have salivary glands in your mouth. So your own people don't realize your what they want to remineralize their teeth with hundreds of other things like nanohydroxyapatite and this and fluoride and this and that. Your number one remineralizing agent is in your own mouth, which is your own saliva, right? And when you are stimulating your own mouth to produce more saliva, now you are creating an environment where there is no dry mouth, and if there is no dry mouth, your own your own saliva is going to cure your own mouth, and that is what instigated me to put this whole kit together, and I did it very thoroughly so that it actually ends up helping people. And the idea was, uh, whom am I trying to help? I knew a lot of Americans, they don't have dental insurance because when I came to America and I wanted insurance, dental insurance, took it. But when I went to the dentist, he says he only takes cash, or 80%, 90% of it was cash. Anybody and everybody I knew, I talked to them and they say, oh, they don't go to the dentist like it's recommended because it's it's too expensive to go to a dentist. At one point, I had a lot of my friends go to India, get a treatment done, meet their parents, take a 1 week vacation, come back, and that would equal the amount they would have paid for a dentist visit here.
Hmm.
So I realized this is treacherous to say the least. So I said, okay, I'm going to work hard and create this for the people, bridge the gap for the people who are underserved in this country. And that is what instigated me to bring the oil pulling really fast and furious. And lucky for me, I not unlucky initially because I launched it in 2014 and I used to sell one piece per week. So imagine selling $10 a week. Your sales are $10 a week, and
Oh,
I had like 14 people already that I had hired. So I was like sitting on $1 million payroll per month,
oh
making
wow.
$40 in sales, or not per month, per year, uh, sitting on $40 in sales. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to destroy all the money I've made in my previous venture. But I was so sure that it will work one day, to the point where almost everybody said, you should close it down, you should close it down, you
Oh
should
wow.
close it down. But I said, no, it would work. It would work. I think it took me 10 years, almost 9 years, for it to really make it popular. It was a slow move, initial part, then it became quick in 2017 a little bit, then died down a little. It's been like a ECG machine up and down, but really, since last year, it's really taken off to the point where we can say today people are realizing if you go to on Amazon, we're outselling Listerine, we're
Hmm.
outselling TheraBreath, we're outselling Colgate, we're outselling Crest. That means we've started a revolution. We've started a revolution, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, truthfully.
That I can't even imagine being in that position, knowing so much money going out, but having that passion. I'm glad you stuck it out, and I'm glad that were very vested in knowing what you were doing. But I think had you not gone through all the things that you had gone through personally, I don't know that you would have stuck it out, right? Because that's a huge financial investment.
Apart from that, I knew this will work. I 1000% knew Means I knew that it would take time because it's hard to go against the forces, right? It's hard to fight forces, but I knew it would work one day. So it's just a matter of time.
You had mentioned and I had never heard of anybody recommending oil pulling for dry mouth. And when I got some of your samples when I was at RDH Under One Roof, I read through all of the brochures and the information pamphlets that your employees graciously gave us and all the samples. And I was looking and reading, and I was like, this stuff all seems like it would be fantastic for dry mouth. Why is it not being marketed
Because
for dry mouth?
dry mouth or xerostomia is actually a problem solution situation in America. So you need to get a 510K approval.
Oh.
And if the problem is um, you need to file a new drug application, and that means it might take me anywhere from 5 to 10 years, and I'll have to go through like a drug, which could end up meaning multi-million dollar investment. So I decided not to make a claim on it,
Mm-hmm.
and if somebody and let it be word of mouth. And I think people have realized because um, I have been literally uh, MD Anderson, Sloan Catering, Cedar Sinai, um, City of Hope, all the chemo patients who go through xerostomia, who go through dry mouth conditions after chemo, or they go through all the problems, they write to me almost on a everyday day basis. I get messages thanking
Wow.
how this is actually changing their life.
That's I've started recommending it without knowing that, but just knowing the ingredients and knowing, xerostomia is the number one side effect of all medications, and you know well just as I how many people walking on the streets are on multiple medications. So that's
Especially antidepressants
yep,
and anti-allergic medications that people are popping in like candies.
yes. Yeah. No, I personally love your product. I use it. I want to talk about the different types. So you have the little individual like sachets that are like a one-time use. I love those. I travel with those because they're so easy and clean. You don't make a mess with anything. I also have the bottle of the oil pulling solution and your very buttery soft toothbrush, which is an incredibly soft toothbrush. I do thoroughly enjoy those products. I still love my electric toothbrush, but um, yeah, that I have
And I
never.
also do electric toothbrush. So I actually rotate. In the morning after oil pulling, I use the butter and gums,
Hmm.
and in the evening I use our own. We also manufacture Sonic toothbrush. I use that, and I religiously water floss and floss both. So I always say you're as good as your regimen. Prevention is the cure, because
Yes.
most people go to a dentist or a doctor when it is when they've lost it. Like, for
Yep.
example, some of my own cousins, some of my own people that I call them real close friends and family, I kept telling them about oil pulling over the years, and they would not listen to me. And when they have their teeth shaking and killing them with pain, is and I told them, go to a dentist, God, for God's sake, and they wouldn't. And
Uh,
now that everything is, they come and they call me at night and say, oh, do you think it would help? No, it's not like a panacea. Oil pulling is not going to help you if you're in pain at 12:30 at night.
yeah.
It's not a magical cure. No, it is a part of a regimen, of a preventative regimen that you do, that you brush, you water floss, you do the whole spiel. You go to a dentist, you get your RDH to clean your mouth, because you could be susceptible to plaque even if you do everything on earth,
Hmm.
because you that's your genetical makeup. And you need to mechanically get your cleaning done. Means you could be the best for a regimented person, but still you could get black because
Absolutely.
it's
And
how your body is.
I appreciate you saying that because I think there's a lot of skeptics out there, and understandably skeptics, because of the perception that oil pulling is just this magic cure all that takes the place of everything. And that's not the case. So I absolutely appreciate you saying, no, it's part of a regimen. It is part of a holistic approach to taking care of your mouth and your whole body, because it doesn't mess with the dysbiosis of your mouth and the bacteria in your mouth and your gut. It's promoting a healthy oral microbiome. So I
Exactly.
appreciate you saying that a lot.
Thank you. And I
So
love, I think hygienists are the most underserved, or not underappreciated, not underserved, sorry, underappreciated people in America, truthfully. And they actually do a lot of the heavy lifting when they put put their face over somebody's mouth for half an hour, cleaning their mouth. No, I'm not kidding you.
I know.
It's probably the most difficult job. Means it's almost like somebody cleaning somebody's poop, right? And i- that hard of a job. And the dentist comes in, drills and fills, and goes away. But it's the hygienist who's doing the dirty work,
Mhm.
literally, and they are underappreciated, and they are the ones who are very educated. They really want you to actually get fixed.
Yes.
Means for a dentist, the dentists are great. By the way, I'm not criticizing any one of them,
Right.
but
Right.
what I'm saying is, dentist has to take care of the office bills. A hygienist doesn't have that burden on her mind. So what she's more concerned about is you,
Mhm.
so that you are healthy. And I think people need to spend a little bit more time and give more respect to the hygienists.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Fresh. I can't speak for every hygienist out there, but I know that that is what I absolutely love about my job, is being able to have that direct impact on my community and having those breakthrough moments with patients, of getting them to understand, hey, I'm here to help keep you out of that dental chair. You don't have to listen to me, but unless you enjoy that drill and fill and those dental bills, a $20 mouthwash or a $20 regiment is a whole lot cheaper and much more sustainable for your mouth than crowns, implants, bridges, all of those things. So,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely. So, how would you suggest, if for our listeners, if you haven't incorporated oil pulling into your routine, how would you suggest to go about oil pulling? How long should you oil pull? Because there's some um, time out there. I've heard 20 minutes is how long you're supposed to oil pull. So what
Not
do
at
you
all.
say, as our guru, local guru? What would you say is the best way to go about that?
So, what I suggest to all my people who follow me or who are actually using our product is, start with just 2 minutes a day. All my clinical studies are done on 2 minutes a day.
Okay.
So, if the reason it is suggested to go all the way up to 10 minutes is because the saponification effect, as I told you, and the oil pulling part of the effect, and making loosening the biofilm part of the effect, that really gets amazing as you cross minute 5. And and you should start with 2 minutes, slowly grow 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 4 minutes. And if even if you're doing it 5 minutes, you're good. You don't have this, and every human being is different. It's not like a competition. Like you may be able to run 5 miles a day, and I might only be able to run half a mile a day. That doesn't mean I'm bad or I'm less agile. It's just my body type.
Hmm.
And And when people start to go on that peloton and start to compete with each other, that's a little bit, I would say, redundant, because you're competing with somebody. You don't have their body and their structure and their system. I mean, somebody is totally different. So I think everybody needs to compete with themselves, not with anybody. And secondly, I don't recommend at all using our product the way we've formulated it over 10 minutes at any given time. It's very important, because if they use over 10 minutes, it is full of all the toxins, and at that point, I want it to be spit out,
Oh, okay.
because over that, it could actually have negative effects. I don't want to scare people about that, so I'm not going to go into that. But I would suggest 10 minutes is the max, according to what we've seen in our study that we have done, that 10 minutes is where you should stop. And even if you want to do more just for your own liking, then change the oil, change the pull, and
So 10 minutes, and then would you say spit into the sink, the toilet, the trash can? Where would you say that?
wherever, whatever. If you're, if I have been spitting in my, I do it in my shower. I've been spitting in my shower since 2014,
And
and
no plumber issues.
I have never had any issues with plumbing of my shower. Now, I'm not a shower special like a plumbing specialist, so I'm not going to take bills from people's plumbing. So I don't know how people's plumbing is also. So make your own informed decision. If you want to, if you feel more comfortable spitting in a trash can, do that. Spitting on grass outside, do that. But I have personally been spitting since 2014 without a problem, and I've been avid oil puller every single darn day.
Wow.
Like not every single darn day, I would say. I skip days, but pretty much means quite a
And
bit.
I think I read you suggest first thing in the morning, not nighttime. Is that correct, or is
Correct,
that
correct. So, two reasons. The number one reason, which is the scientific reason, is that when you are sleeping, your mouth is closed. And when your mouth is closed, sorry, when you're sleeping, you sometimes sleep with your mouth open and you have dry mouth. And at that time, the biofilm formation and the plaque formation is at the highest peak. So when you wake up in the morning, you don't have the saliva in your mouth. Your system. So you actually, when you use oil pulling in the morning, it would be the most effective to remove those biofilms, and that would give you the best effect. Number two, in Ayurveda, which is the science, Indian science, which actually originates oil pulling, it has your body is very hungry in the morning.
hmm
So you get maximum side effect of the pumping action. So according to Ayurveda, I don't want to go into too much Ayurveda because it might start to make claims, and I don't want people trying to look into me as voodoo science. I'm a more scientific person, but I know that it does work. And your pump action of your below your tongue actually pulls all the toxins from your body also, according to Ayurveda. And and how it works is your body system uh, works on either you poop, you pee, you sweat, or you urinate. Sorry, so it's called uh, pure system: perspire, urination, respiration, and
defecation.
so yeah, whatever. It would take me a second to. It's been 45 minutes of me nonstop, 50 minutes. So what? So this system actually goes. The oil pulling system, according to Ayurveda, goes and actually starts breaking down those fat cells in between which the toxins are stored by the body, which are overloaded on your lymphatic system, causing it to make toxic fat. And
hmm
once that is broken down, that is when your body starts to metabolize better and do other things. So I'm not going to go into all that detail, but just to give you a quick general idea, it is unbelievable science if you get into that part of the depth part of it,
I personally just started doing dry brushing in the mornings. So I'm
which is
there with you on
amazing,
that. Yeah.
which is unbelievable. And that's a part of Ayurveda as well. Dincharya, which is dincharya means every day.
I'm working up to it. I've just started. I'm not a morning person, so it is a personal struggle for me. But I've seen a lot of research on the health benefits of it, and there's definitely no harm in it. So why the heck not try to improve that circulation of your lymphatic system? So,
Awesome. Love it.
all right. Well, Dr. Fresh, last couple questions for you. Um, what piece of advice do you wish you could go back and give yourself as a new graduate?
I would, number one, I wish there was at least 6 months of integrative medicine
Yes.
in regular medical colleges, which means integrative medicine, I mean, like a chapter on Ayurveda, maybe a chapter on TCM. I don't know much about TCM, but I hear great things about it.
What is
Maybe
DCM? I'm not familiar.
TCM, TCM means traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, TC. Okay.
So these are thousands of years old civilizations. They've survived pandemics and they've survived and they're still the most populous countries. So they must have been doing something right. So
It's
we
very
shouldn't
true.
just discount them in one stroke just because we are more organized and more systematic. So I think there should be a chapter on like there should be a one semester on integrative medicine that needs to be incorporated so that we don't just form a very single-minded view of this whole world. Like, okay, you ask oil pulling from a dentist, the number one response is, oh, it's a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a hoax, because just because you don't know about it doesn't make it a hoax. So that is very important, that certain things like this should be incorporated. Number two, I would say I wish I knew about preventative care more, because prevention is better than cure. I'd heard about it, but I didn't know what that really means.
Hmm.
So I wish and I hope everybody knew about exercise, nutrition, and prevention a lot more early on in age. So these are the two major things I would say.
Those are great things. Okay. Second question, you may have answered it, but I'll give you another option. What do you wish you would have learned in school that took you years to learn in the real world?
Prevention.
Prevention. Ugh, that's a hygienist. That's our job title. Prevention, right there.
You got it.
Well, Dr. Fresh, thank you so much for spending this time educating me and giving us so much more ammunition for our hygienists to be empowered and just have more information, because there is so many preconceived ideas about what oil pulling is. And so hearing the truth and hearing it from a guru is fantastic. So thank you so much. Where can our listeners find you on social media, find your products? Where can we find you?
So the website is called gurunanda.com, which is guru, GURUNANDA.com. And my own personal, I talk to all my people around the globe, or like at least in America. I have a TikTok page. It's called at I am Puneet Nanda. I am Puneet is my first name, Puneet, and Nanda is Nanda. I am Puneet Nanda. We do have a Guru Nanda official company page, but I talk to all my people one on one at I am Puneet Nanda, and I thank TikTok to really make it easy for me to go on there. I tried doing this earlier, but TikTok has just been very easy to use platform. So I'm very, very committed there.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being our guest. And I just appreciate your time so much. I know we've missed cross paths so many times. So um, thank you for making this time work. And I really
Thank you.
appreciate the education that you gave us today.
Thank you so much. Where can I actually listen to this podcast that you actually just did?
We will Joffrey's going to edit our podcast, so you can find it on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. We have a ton, but we can directly email you the link so
Please
you
do.
can find it.
Thank you so much, my dear. Thanks.
Absolutely. It was nice meeting you. If you're in
Nice
Utah,
meeting you.
I'd love to have coffee or something.
I promise.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Okay.